I'm Jeff Allen, and welcome to this special series of podcasts called Knightline 79 Rewind. Last summer, and into the beginning of the 2020 season, I interviewed several players that were on UCF's first football team in 1979 for the Knightline podcast in honor of 40 years of UCF football. While nostalgia continues to be front and center, while we wait for the resumption of live sports, we thought we would bring these interviews back as their own podcasts so that we could relive these great memories once again. The quarterback legacy at UCF is rich, with the likes of Dante Culpepper, Ryan Schneider, Blake Bortles, and Mackenzie Milton. But it all started in 1979 with the Knights' first quarterback, Mike Cullison. He got both the first passing and rushing touchdowns in school history in the inaugural game in the victory over St. Leo. So let's get to it, shall we, on our Knightline 79 Rewind with the first man under center at UCF, Mike Cullison. So let's start with Mike Cullison just a little bit before UCF. So you were the quarterback at Evans High School, and as you were playing on the high school gridiron, where did you dream of maybe playing college football because UCF didn't have a team yet?
I always kind of wanted to go to USC or Oklahoma. Okay.
And so you finished your career at Evans, and you end up at UCF. So tell me how that happened.
Well, I actually went to Valencia for 2 years.
Okay.
And then from there I went to Tusculum College in Greenville, Tennessee for a quarter or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And left there. It was a little bit too small and went to UCF. And the first time when I enrolled there, that was actually UCF. It wasn't FTU.
Okay. And so as you enroll there, the football program is about to be born, correct?
Well, not that I know of at that point. You know, I was looking to do something. I looked to play baseball. I went to talk to the baseball coach, and he had asked me if I had played at Tusculum in the fall, and I said yes, and he said I was ineligible. So that means I only have 1 year left if I was to even go out for baseball. So I was thinking, well, I want to do something, you know, so I was thinking I was even considering rowing crew. And then all of a sudden the football team came along.
Yeah, so how did that kind of come about? So the university decides they're going to play Division III football. Can you walk me through how the program was constructed? How did they get the word out, and how did they assemble you guys as players?
Well, I actually think it was club football at that time. I don't know. I can't remember how it got started. I think my dad told me. He probably read it in the paper or something, and then kind of word got around, and we had a practice, kind of like a practice one day out at the old driving range, I think it is, and you know, just for a few minutes, and then that was about it. Then they had a party or a barbecue out at Lake Claire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I met Jonas. And that was pretty good.
And so
you know, I had met Jonas years before in Winnipeg.
Okay.
And we were up there at a game, and then that's when I met him as the coach.
And so he's ready to coach the football team. You guys assemble a team. How long did it kind of take you guys to get the team grouped together before playing that first game?
Not long. I mean, he had it all set up, and we all met in the out in the commons area of where the old gym was, and we just went to work. And
then your first game was at St. Leo. Yeah, so you start out on a road game just down the road a little bit, and so you throw the first touchdown pass in school history, and you also rush for the very first touchdown in school history.
Right. And as one of my friends, John Lindy, would tell you, I threw probably the first interception.
But I think the good outweighed the bad, right?
Yeah, well, he didn't say probably. He said he threw the first interception.
So you win that first game 21-0, and so the accounts of that game was that it was kind of like a muddy cow pasture. Is that accurate, or a story that's kind of grown in legend over time?
I don't know. You have to decide for yourself. There's pictures of it. It was the end zone was just covered, at least one part of it was just covered in water. As you see Bobby Joe playing going into the end zone. It's standing water. Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, the field was okay to me. I didn't look at it as cow pasture or anything like that.
So you guys have a terrific first season. You go 6-2, right?
Correct.
And so what are your favorite memories of that very first season?
Just getting to well, first off, how you always say if you had a chance to do it all over again? Mm-hmm. Well, that was something that I got a chance to do.
Yeah.
I think God led me to UCF to play football another time, and I took all advantage of it. I thought I worked pretty hard and changed the way I did things from high school. I worked harder than I did in high school, and it was just, that was pretty cool,
And with your first two seasons, the travel for road games, it's not like it is today. You guys are taking buses and it's not the no frills stuff that you get today, right?
Yeah, no, we took buses, and actually I laid down in the luggage rack. The bus rides were long, and I think we went back-to-back road weeks, and that was pretty tiresome. Mm. So I can imagine what minor league players go through.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the second season for UCF, you guys were 4-4 that season, or
4-4-1.
4-4-1.
One of the games was we won through a forfeit. Mm-hmm. We played Carson Newman, and they had an ineligible player.
And do you have like a favorite play in your career, the one that you vividly remember a lot?
One that I remember, the ones that I remember are the bad ones. I guess it's easy to remember the good plays, but I always remember the bad ones, plays that hurt us. Mm. I remember one, we're playing Carson Newman, and we were getting ready to catch up to him, and we ran a bootleg or something, and I took off and started running, and hit the ball on the side of my leg, and I fumbled it. Mm. And that's one play that I won't forget.
Oh, wow. So you and I became acquainted in the early 80s after your playing days at UCF. You and your dad actually used to show up at remotes at WKIS Radio when Chris Russo was doing his show there, and I was his producer. And you guys used to come down, and that's how you and I became acquainted. Had you started your high school coaching career at that point?
No, I was working, I believe at that point I was working at Martin Marietta. Okay,
so that's where your dad worked too, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I think you and both of our dads ended up were acquaintances at Martin Marietta as well, so it was kind of a cool connection there. So when did you get into high school coaching?
I think I worked at Martin for about 7.5 years, and I went over to Dr. Phillips one day to see my old high school coach, Gary Pricer, mm-hmm. and just say hello to him, see how things was going, and I don't know, it was a while later, I get a phone call, and it's him, and asking me if I was interested in getting into teaching. And I said, sure. And he said, go apply to Popular, there's a job. So I thought that was pretty cool. He said, are you still interested in teaching? I said, yeah. And I got a job there, and I didn't coach football there the first year. I was only there from like November till the end of the school year, and then I went over to Edgewater, and that's when I started coaching football.
And as you went through high school coaching, you became a very established high school football coach, state championship run in 2008 at Seminole. What experience as a player did you apply as a coach?
Just really to work hard, to work hard and keep pushing forward. And if you get knocked down, you got to get back up and, and go out and have fun.
And after you look back, you see what UCF has become. Did you guys, when you were getting things started, any idea at all envisioning to help build all this to where it is today? Could you just kind of see that back in the distance, or were you just guys enjoying college life and playing football?
I was enjoying college playing football.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think anything like there'd be today.
So let's talk about where UCF is today. I mean, from year one to what will be the 40th anniversary of the first game coming up in September. Now it's a team that is on the national stage in the national conversation, on campus stadium. How impressed are you by what the University of Central Florida has become?
I think it's awesome. When they talked about, or somebody would ask me about them we should put a stadium on the school campus, I kind of balked at it, because I just like the Citrus Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in retrospect, I look at it and I think that is such a great move. I think Dana White is a genius marketing person.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, if you think about it, when he said we were national champs, were we national champs? I'm probably going to say something that people aren't going to like. No, we weren't national champs because we didn't win it.
Mm-hmm.
But should we have been in the playoffs? Maybe. But by him saying we were national champs, what happened? Everybody started talking, Dana White needs to be quiet, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden, UCF's all over the television. The next thing we know, we have College Game Day at UCF.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a marketing genius.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And you mentioned that, UCF now, they're on TV all the time and things like that. And just the size of the school now compared to what it was when you started playing football. When you look at that, are you in awe?
Oh, yeah, man. If you go out to the campus now, it looks, you might recognize a building or two, but, I mean, it's a really just what a change. What a change. And it's actually a very beautiful campus.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get my daughter to go to school there, but she doesn't want to, follow in her dad's footsteps, I don't think.
Is your daughter in athletics?
She is. She runs track for Oviedo and cross country for Oviedo.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll be a senior this year.
Yeah, and UCF's got a pretty nice track program too.
Well, she don't. I mentioned UCF, and she goes, "I'm not going to UCF." So, and I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. So, looking at the quarterback history of UCF, obviously you're the first. And then, we've had Dante Culpepper, Ryan Schneider had some nice success. You look at Blake Bortles, Jeff Godfrey, Mackenzie Milton, and I'm sure you had to be totally brokenhearted for Mackenzie's injury.
Oh man, I'm glad he's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is he ever going to play again? You just, only God knows that, and so you don't really know if he's going to be able to play again or not.
Yeah.
I do think he's got a huge career in coaching.
And
I think he would be a great coach.
Yeah. So what do you see in him that leads you to that?
I watch him on the, when guess I was watching a game on television or something, and you know how they zero in on the guy?
Mm-hmm.
He was very much Joe Montana-ish. Never, you could never see him worried or anything like that. It was really good, and he impressed me with that.
Yeah, and obviously he probably used some of that skills in helping DJ Mack when he filled in for him, and
That's right.
And you look, now Mack has an injury, so he's questionable to start the season. Brandon Wimbush will look to be the starter probably. What is your assessment of the quarterback stable at UCF right now?
Well, I'm sure they got a few good ones. I mean, since UCF is now on the map, I mean, you're going to start getting people coming to UCF from all over the place. I don't know. I went to the spring game. I didn't really know who the kid from Notre Dame was. The kid that I thought that I was really impressed with, and not to say that he's any better than anybody else, but I really like the kid from Hawaii.
Dylan Gabriel, yeah.
He looks a lot like Milton, except he's left-handed. So I think I really liked watching him play. And
by all accounts, it looks like he will have a very nice future at the University of Central Florida. So, how do you think they're going to look this season? They're 25-1 over the last two seasons, 2 New Year's Six Bowls appearance. It probably will be a little more challenging this year, but it's still an incredible football team that has a terrific running game.
Right. I think that they're going to be fine. I think that they're going to end up. Are they going to go 10-0, 11-0, with 12-0, whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. That's hard to do anytime. Ask Alabama. I mean, anybody. It's hard to do that for any team. But they're going to be successful. They probably will have another good season.
Yeah, and to come to think of it, they haven't lost a game on the campus in 2 years. So, the fan base, I mean, we are now so accustomed to not losing at home. That one's really going to sting when that does happen.
Yep, and we're going to be tested at home this year. We play Stanford at home this year.
Yes, and that will be a definite tall order. Well, Mike Cullison, you were the very first quarterback at the University of Central Florida, and you got things kicked off in the right way, and here we are 40 years later. I imagine you're thinking, man, where did that time go so quickly, right?
Yep, as a matter of fact, today is my birthday.
Oh, well, how about that? Happy birthday.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Mike.
I'm up in North Carolina. I brought my daughter up here to a running camp.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say, have a terrific birthday, and so you're going to celebrate a birthday, and then a couple months from now, you're going to have the anniversary of the first football game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be neat. They actually changed it. It was going to be the Stanford game, but they moved it to the UConn game.
Okay.
So I think that's September 28th.
And they're going to be doing a ceremony before the game?
I'm not sure if it's before
or at halftime?
Mid-game or not, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time they did one, they had us all on the field, and they had us lined up, and they were calling everybody's name out, and everybody stepped forward and everything. They got to the guy next to me, they called his name, and then they jumped over me and went to the next guy. They forgot me totally.
Oh, no. How can they do that?
So I just stepped forward. I said, I better step forward so I'll make it look like, not that anybody was even paying attention, but, it was just kind of like, okay, well, it's very humbling, very humbling.
Well, I definitely think though when they call the roll this year, though, there's going to be a pretty excited home crowd there. I think people going to be paying more attention now, especially with the legacy of what the very first team did. Now where UCF football is today.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. If you look at I do want to say this. If you look at our first team, for the most part, I don't know where everybody is, but for the guys that I know and remember, the guys that were on that team have been very successful in their careers, whether it be money or just coaching or doing whatever. They've had very successful careers. And I think that has a lot to do with why we were successful the first year, because everybody was, competitive. And we wanted to get out there and play, and wanted that chance, and we got it. And I think that has a lot to do with, that says a lot about the team.
And it probably also says a lot about Don Jonas as well.
Oh, absolutely. Don was a fun guy to play for.
And people probably don't remember, he was coaching. He wasn't paid. He was a volunteer coach.
Yeah. I don't even remember that. So I don't know. I wasn't concerned with that. I was just playing.
Well, that you did, and we do appreciate you sharing your memories of the UCF in the very, very first days.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for this Knightline 79 Rewind, only on the Knightline Sports Network. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at UCF_Knightline, and you can follow me as well at JeffAllen_88. For Knightline 79 Rewind, I'm Jeff Allen. Stay well and stay safe.